What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the very first CommentForce video where we take all of your questions, concerns, and thoughts, mix them all up, and then make magic with the responses. I've got myself, Zach, Jake, and Gabe, the whole SwitchForce crew, 26 of your best comments from the week's videos. We called these from every video, a variety of videos, and now we are ready to discuss all of it together. Jake and Gabe, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Yep.
First comment. We're just going to get right into it because no time to lose, no time to waste. Less than 4 weeks till the Switch. And we got to
You're wasting time. Let's get into it.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. The more you make me panic, the more time I waste. The more time I waste, the more I panic. Okay. Domestos Bleach says, do y'all think a few years down the line they'll release a Switch XL? Which I think is a very interesting comment and one that is really like at the forefront of my mind lately, because there's been all this sort of back and forth with, will Nintendo continue the 3DS? Do they view the Switch and 3DS as competitors or as counterparts or what? And the president of Nintendo, Mr. Kimishima, said that the 3DS has a long life and it has some great unannounced games, sequels, and that there was a comment that could go either way, but in some people's eyes, he was talking about even a successor to the 3DS. So I don't know about a Switch XL, but what do you guys think about a Switch Mini that would be like just the handheld, no dock, and effectively be a 3DS true successor?
I don't know why they would make anything else besides a Switch. Why would you take a system that can do both things and is a relatively good size that can fit in most bags or big sweatpant pockets, but still be portable, and then make a smaller version of it that can only do half of the things that the Switch can do? To me, that doesn't make sense. Like, I think they have a perfect model. It's a very good size, so I don't think they need to go bigger nor smaller. So I think they're just gonna. I don't know. I think they don't need to. Maybe like a more powerful Switch in the future, but I don't think bigger or smaller in any way.
Yeah, I think it would be a mistake. I think the goal should be unification, make it the one platform, and it does both things very well. So I personally don't see a reason for doing this, and I also don't think that the 3DS is going to be around for like that much longer. Like,
so it's just posturing to keep people placated. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's like, just logically, there's no reason to. Yes, support the 3DS for like this year or something, but there's no reason to. Once Switch hopefully has its legs under it and it's doing well and everybody's into it, there's just, I don't see why put out a GIMP version of a game when you can make it like a better game on a more powerful console. And,
but what if it was the same console, just one was not dockable? Like, what if they made a mini or a mega? I mean, think about the iPad, right? iPads can do the same stuff, but there's a variety of form factors to appeal to your specific desire or needs.
I really don't want to play with an 11-inch screen, like carrying that around an airplane. I think that it's like I said, a very ideal size for both portability and like big enough to play almost any game on. I just don't see why they would. I mean, I guess for more sales, but like Gabe said, like unification seems smarter and focus on making the best one system as opposed to trying to split people up and have a half system.
It would be unified. There would be nothing different.
Except that you can't play it on a big screen. So like, why would you do that?
But the games would be the same. I mean, think about the 3DS, the new 3DS, 3DS XL, the 2DS. I mean, these are things that all play the same games that don't impede any sort of development, but they just encourage a variety of form factors. I mean, you look at Nintendo's history, not with home consoles as much, but handheld, they have always had iterations. Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP, the DS, the DSi. I think at some point, I would hedge my bet on some sort of update coming to this, whether it's form factor, power, or something we can't even predict, VR maybe. But I think it could come.
Yeah,
I think that they need to focus their efforts instead of making a whole new form. They need to focus on developing that technology cheaper so that they don't have to sell $80 Joy-Cons.
There we go. The next comment comes from Bob Bobinson, who says, Snipper Clips actually sold the Switch for me. Zelda at launch, and then this game soon after. It looks like a very fun co-op game for only $20. And now this is confirmed by Nintendo.com. Snipper Clips comes in hot at $20, which I think is perfect. And I love that people are getting into some of the more quirky titles, and I think that's something Nintendo should double down on. Because, like Bob said, and a bunch of people that thumbed up this comment, like, that's the kind of game that can make you real interested in the system. Sure, you want to have your NBAs and your, open world and your action titles, but something like Snipper Clips only going to happen really on Switch, and I think they need to realize that, and good on them for making it $20.
Yeah, I love Sniper Clips. $20 is a fantastic price for it. It kind of bums me out that there's probably not going to be like, this huge game like I thought it was going to be, but when Jake and I played it together, we had fun, and this is like seriously, other than Zelda, the game I want the most for Switch in March.
I love
I'm glad it's not a huge game though, because I like having that diversity of like a game I can pick up and play for a little bit. It's just like a fun little time consumer, and then a big game like Zelda that I can actually pour hours into. So like the variety.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Okay, Bleachinator06 says, all Nintendo has to do is market the Switch as the successor to the 3DS and sell it as a quality piece of technology, that this is a very powerful and versatile handheld that has the ability to seamlessly dock into your TV and play your AAA games on the go or on the big screen. This is in reference to how it should be marketed, if they're, handheld first, home console first, what. And I think that right now Nintendo is heavily beating the home console drum, but Bleachinator says that he thinks the reverse would be a better bet, probably because of then I think it focuses on more of the unique quality of it. Do you guys think they're doing a good enough job of expressing that this can be taken wherever?
My first concern is why out of the first 3 comments, 2 of the people have Bleach in their name. I'm a little concerned about that. But secondly, to answer your question, I think they're doing a really good job of kind of just playing it in the middle. I don't think they really have to or should focus on, this is a handheld and it can also be a home console, or this is a home console and it can be taken anywhere. I think they're doing a pretty good job of being like, it's kind of almost like an amoeba that can go anywhere, your TV, on the go, tabletop, and kind of breaking the mold as it's not really a handheld or a home console. It's kind of just like both mixed into one, and sort of like a whole new generation of gaming.
Yeah, I think Zach and I both fall under the group that thinks that this eventually just becomes like a handheld console for most people, just because we already have home consoles that are like way more powerful and that people are used to, and there's a lot of them on the market. So I do think people gravitate eventually towards the mobility of this, and maybe not necessarily having it docked all the time, but forget what they should do. What Nintendo is doing is they're marketing it as a home console, and they are really driving that home. And the commercials, and the trailers are all doing a good job of just showing that you can take it everywhere. But, like I said,
I think there's a lot of variety. They do show a number of scenarios, but I think, Jake, you uncovered their next whole commercial, which is a scientist is looking in a microscope, and it's the Switch, and then it splits, the amoeba splits from the dock, and then it is like, oh my god, it's evolving into 2, and then they're like, no, sir, this is 1 cell, and then it's like it's this old-fashioned science Dharma Initiative commercial. Okay, before you guys realize I'm psychotic, let's move on to the next comment from...
Wait, that just means they're going to come out with the Joy-Con jelly, and it's like this like formless Joy-Con that just kind of sits in your hand like putty.
Yeah, leave it there for 20 minutes, and before you know it, you'll have a custom controller formed to the specifications of your hand. Next.
God.
I like how you're a Bioshock Infinite like street vendor all of a sudden.
Come over here, buy a new plasmid. You've got one joyous plasmid. It's the con that you need. Okay, Zombie says Mario Striker is amazing, which I agree. Also, Mario Superstar Sports for 3DS comes out in March, and I think we all got to play some soccer, because I was watching updated videos for that, and it looks amazing. But Zombie, you are a smart man or creature. Victor Custodio says, Switch Force, we are on the verge of having no console generations from now on. Do you guys agree that in the future, the Switch could have a more powerful GPU, CPU on the dock for better graphics, even 4K, an 8.5-inch screen XL, twice the battery? Again, this sort of references the first comment. Do we think that Switch is sort of Nintendo's final frontier, and there will be, these kind of upgrades? Again, a little bit of a twist on the first comment.
If it is their final frontier, it's not because they're gonna just like iterate on it. It's because it's gonna like not do well, and they're never gonna make a console again. That's the only way it can be their final frontier. Like I don't think we ever get a like 4K Nintendo console. Like that doesn't seem to be what the company wants. Like they're not about the latest technology. They're about the games. And honestly, this here, an upgraded dock that with a better GPU and CPU, I don't see it. I don't think that's even a remote possibility.
can I don't know all the specs of the system. Can they even do that, or is all the hardware in the actual like screen switch? Like what
it's all in the screen. But I mean, theoretically, I guess if you can find a way to get that stuff on a dock and make it work, I mean, I don't know, but
I really think, and that these guys are onto something. I do think eventually there is either a Switch Mini or a Switch XL, and I don't know what's all going to be modified, but
it's not going to have 4K.
No, I don't know. I don't know
who
if we can
really
say that.
needs 4K.
I think we can say that the screen now is 720p.
What about in 2020?
I don't think they care.
The Xbox Scorpio is rumored to be 6 times stronger than the Xbox One.
I don't think Nintendo cares.
Yeah, honestly, like when you're getting into like
okay, so take 4K out of it. Do you think they make a better battery version, a bigger screen, a 1080p screen, something that's more reasonable?
Maybe. I don't.
All right, so we've got one for the eventual new Switch, and we've got 2 for Switch for life. We're gonna have a protest.
I mean, they're gonna upgrade it in some way or come out with something new.
But they've never done that. Well, I mean, sure, like they've done, like the N64 had like the Rumble Pack, but the Wii never had like any like crazy iteration. Wii Motion Plus, I guess, is the closest thing.
Sure.
The Wii U is what the Wii U was on day one, like right
but the
now.
Wii U, I mean, if anything, that shows that they need to make modifications because the Wii U is their worst.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that the GameCube had like
no.
Well, and these are newer things. Like iteration is something more of today's day and age. But I
think it's just a very on the nose topic because of the PS4 Pro, because of the new 3DS, because of the Xbox Scorpio. We're in an era and age where people expect this from their phones, from their tablets, from their game consoles. So I don't think that we can say that they're not going to do it.
I just would rather them focus on making new, better games as opposed to trying to go from like 5 billion polygons to 6 billion polygons. I know it's a simplification, but I'm just saying, like, I'd rather Nintendo be the company that focuses on putting out the best games as opposed to trying to keep up with the graphics of Microsoft and Sony.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they can do both. But first, let's get a comment from Mad Killer who says that the eShop is garbage. I never really use it, but when I wanted to buy the new Smash Brothers, I had to purchase it on the eShop because I couldn't find a physical copy anywhere. First of all, they have taxes on both their eShop prepaid cards, and they have taxes on digital purchases. It is a mess to use compared to PlayStation Store. They really need to change that. And I was thinking about this, that, this is Nintendo going more in the way of the future with a console that could be all digital. If you upgrade to a 128, 256, 2 terabyte card. Their store, I will say, is a bit of a headache to navigate.
And slow.
I think that it's interesting how, and there's another comment that kind of references it later, how, your presentation really kind of helps influence the way the console goes. I would say that a lot of people buy 3DS carts because it's a lot simpler than downloading, and maybe even same with Wii U. But on PlayStation, for example, it's a very, very streamlined process, and the cross media bar itself is very streamlined, so you can quickly access what you need. So I think Nintendo's clearer and cleaner UI is really going to help massage this problem out, and hopefully their online store matches that much simpler and more straightforward UI.
I'm just trying to remember when we gave them too much credit for eShop. I don't think any of us think eShop is great.
Yeah, I think it just like that Nintendo will have successful online, and I do think it's important that this, you usually consider lag or communications, but the shop itself isn't something that usually gets brought up. So I thought that was a good observation.
Okay,
I think they can definitely easily switch it. Get it? I didn't mean to make a point.
Tryhard Black Guy says, this is getting out of control. How about Nintendo just show us everything? How did we come out of the presentation with more questions than answers? Now, this is a bit of an older comment, but it applies still today. We still don't know about Virtual Console.
Okay, all right.
We still don't know about Virtual Console. We still haven't really seen the UI. We still don't know very much about the online. And I just want to get you guys' kind of hot take. Does this stuff go into launch now that we're under 28 days? Does this go into launch unknown, or do you think there is one more tell-all before March 3rd?
I think if there was one more tell-all, we would know about it, wouldn't we? Unless it's like just gonna drop it unless on a Monday they say, hey, there's a direct on Friday. The thing is, it's Nintendo and they're so unpredictable. Yeah, we came out of the presentation with more questions and answers, but a lot of those questions have since been resolved, kind of. We have an idea of what the specs are, and we have an idea of what the battery life is, like all those things. Yeah, we don't know what the online infrastructure is like, but they keep
We don't know
talking.
Virtual Console. We don't really know UI outside of those. That
What if
you know,
Virtual Console just isn't even a thing right away? Like,
it very well might not be, but it would be good to have some indication of that because there's expectations there that I think need to be either fulfilled or checked. Jake, do you think that we get a direct or something between now and March 3rd?
Considering they haven't said anything, I don't think so. But it is kind of weird they haven't really shown like what it's going to look like when you power on the system. Like we know what games there are, and they keep dripping more games into our palette. But like, it's kind of weird that they haven't shown like the full thing and said exactly what everything is. It's kind of still a mystery. Maybe that's their goal is just to keep you guessing, and then you buy it, and then they're
Open
gonna
the
be like,
box
"More
and
games."
see what pops out. Yeah.
You're gonna show up at the store to buy a Switch, and there's gonna be like 4 new games that you've never even heard of before.
Yeah, that would be a trip.
Metroid Prime X is all
It's like a monkey ball game. You're just like, where did this come from?
No, I mean, hey, I'm all for surprises. I remember being pleasantly surprised at the Wii's interface because I hadn't really seen it before. I know that they showed it, but whether it's an info dump via press release or a direct, I have a sneaking suspicion we get something more. Alexander Woods has a sneaking suspicion that our channel will die on March 3rd, and I just wanted to once again iterate that the whole purpose of this channel is for March 3rd and beyond.
Get the casket ready, boys.
I think he has like a really messed up Mayan calendar. Like he needs to go look at that again.
Well, he does have that like eerie green spooky nuclear symbol. So
Yeah, I don't. Man, he's just his mind is just in the wrong place. This channel is gonna take off on March 3rd.
Let's get this coming off screen. It's making me queasy. TB Boss Gameplay says, I would love to see a mechanical neon world in Super Mario Odyssey where it would be dark with neon colors pulsing through it and mechanical versions of Mario characters and maybe some new ones. What I thought was cool about this, and it reminded me a lot of Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze. Do you think Nintendo would be bold enough to bring alternate art styles to their main Mario game like they did with Donkey Kong?
I wouldn't fit with the game. Like
I think they could do what he's kind of describing as almost like a Geometry Wars kind of like a wiry like framework thing in the game. I mean, Mario in every land that we've seen so far, world looks the same, but there's a huge difference between New Donk City and like the food world that's like pastel and like weird graphically. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it'd be weird, but I think they could still pull it off because that world is not. There's like hyper realistic forest, and then there's a weird, quirky food world that has fork people.
Yeah, and I think obviously it's Retro who developed the sort of alternate art style for DK, but those are some of the most memorable and the coolest stages and the ones that people identify and associate that game with. So I think it would be a home run out of the park. The question becomes, Nintendo doesn't really like to mess with the sort of default look of their characters, and I don't know that they would be willing to do that. But picture this. What if there is one, we don't know how you access the worlds, most likely via the giant hat ship, but what if you fly to one world where when Mario enters the atmosphere, he turns into Paper Mario? Is that out of the realm of possibility? Would that be less of an egregious alteration of the graphics?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a possibility, but I don't think it happens.
I don't think they go 2D on us. I think it stays 3D. So I think TV Boss's polygonal neon world is more realistic than Paper Mario.
I would love to see them just. I mean, it's his Odyssey. Like, go on a real Odyssey to different dimensions. I think that'd be so cool. Anyhow, sorry for the pronunciation, but Ruzan Jamaledin says, love how the Switch UI looks. One reason I didn't buy games digitally on the 3DS was because of how the UI looked and everything was all cramped. But I think I'll go digital on this. After all, it's cheaper, easier, faster. And this just sort of reiterates what we were talking about before. But again, an interesting thought that, your aesthetic plays more of a role than just pleasing the eyes. It also may affect how people purchase games and what they choose to do in terms of physical or digital. So just thought that was interesting. We'll move on to Trisky's comment. To everyone complaining about games, it is launching in March. I am personally happy with the games coming. Yes, we would like more, but as the months go by, we will get more and more announcements and probably something big at E3. I think the console will be building up until the holiday season. And I just liked his headspace. I think this is kind of where we're all at now, that it has a fine few at launch. It's got solid things after, and everyone at Nintendo keeps reiterating that they will not have gaps. So, we talked about a week ago about an E3 video. What will they have? And I think all of this more and more makes me think that there are some showstoppers left at E3 because they don't want gaps. And I better that than blowing your load all at launch. I think I am totally content with the launch lineup right now.
I'm fine with it.
I think it's good, yeah, and I think that having no lulls is a smart way to go. And even if it's just a little exciting things like Snipper Clips or something along the way until you get to Mario, like, I'd be fine
Give
with
us
that.
Snipper Clips 2 a week after Snipper Clips comes out.
Oh boy, yeah, I think downloadable could be definitely.
I want downloadable.
Delectable downloadables. You eat them.
Yeah.
It pops food right out of the Switch USB-C port. Mr. Penguin Pan says, "Am I the only one hating these?" Referring to the neon Joy-Cons because they look unsymmetrical.
Not the neon ones. I think it's talking about the custom ones.
Well, custom or neon, either way on the actual Switch console. But the neon are also not symmetrical or asymmetrical. This is interesting because again, we talked about how like controllers are one thing because they're never like connected to the screen, but it is interesting to have. It almost looks like you got the wrong set. Like you woke up and put on 2 of the wrong shoe.
Nah, you guys are just not artistic enough to appreciate asymmetry. I think it looks beautiful.
I like it.
So the artists among us will understand, and everyone else will feel like something got screwed up. Philip says, "I'm truly confused by Nintendo's marketing strategy at this point. They seem to be going back and forth with trying to make the Switch appealing to both a younger audience and adults. I really think they need to just pick one demographic and stick with it. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard for them to satisfy both." Now, on one hand...
Philip, do you understand how business works?
I mean, on one hand... Well, hold on.
Wait, you're going to go after one demographic?
Hold on. I think the point he's making is that Nintendo, for the longest time, has been too broad stroke, right? Mm-hmm. And that they don't really appeal to the hardcore, but it's not completely casual. That the pricing in the games are clearly aimed at a gamer audience, but they don't have the system specs to back that up. And so I think the train of thought he has is accurate. Mm-hmm. But I think the smartest thing about the Switch is that it can appeal to both in a way that is even more of a all-inclusive than the Wii, right? The Wii was a marketed to both, right? Hey, gamers, come play Mario Galaxy, come play Twilight Princess. Hey, casuals, play Wii Sports and Wii Play and Carnival games. This can do that, but at a higher level because it has more of a hardcore gamer feel and like idea behind it. I think it's much easier to wrap mainstream into hardcore than wrap hardcore into mainstream.
I am truly confused by Philip's confusion. What is Nintendo doing to market to a younger audience and adults? What are they doing?
Well, I think it's
just because there's an old man in the commercial.
No, I think it's the handheld, the games. I think it's the whole.
Wait, well, what about handheld means old or young?
No, I think handheld is more appealing to a younger demographic.
Says who?
Says some people's train of thought. I know that you would say like, hey, commutes and work are more of a handheld thing, but I don't know if
Philip, I'm not with you, bro. I'm not with you.
I think that they're doing a fine job of including everyone because for 2 reasons, really quickly. One, I think that like things with like Zelda is like open world now, sort of, so that kind of includes like more of a hardcore gaming and not just like, oh, this is Mario, go dink around and be a 4-year-old. And 2, like people have grown up with like Mario and Zelda, so people who love like Mario and Zelda on like the Super Nintendo or N64 are adults now and still enjoy playing them. So like that kind of demographic has grown with the game, so they have like them plus new younger gamers, and then they're making their mainstream games more hardcore in terms of like open world and like better graphics and stuff like that. So I think they're doing a good job.
No, I'm seriously confused. Do we
know? We're gonna move on before Gibbs' head explodes.
No. PS4s and Xbox Ones, older people buy them, younger people buy them. That's kind of how consoles are. Like, what are you talking about?
Next comment.
All right. The good part about CommentForce is that some of the comments are questions, some of the comments are concerns, and some of them are just to get Gabe riled up. Next up, Mavic says, "This, in my opinion, is a fantastic advert." He's talking about the Super Bowl ad. And I fully believe it will appeal to masses, and this is a great follow-up to Philip. The style is great, the music is great, like the song or not, it fits the commercial. It shows the diversity of the hardware well, it shows great-looking games, the culture it shows is very well targeted to the masses. I hope Nintendo does more of this sort of advertising and that the Switch is a major hit as a result of Nintendo's efforts on the Switch as a whole. And I think he just I thank Mavic for giving me what I think is a perfect summarization of that commercial and of the marketing that they've been doing in that fashion that we need much more of, because it does show that appeal to a variety and an all-inclusive approach to this thing, and has the hints that appeal to all those different demographics and sectors.
I think it's like I saw it as like a 2.0 of their initial video release, whatever you want to call it, reveal, and everybody was super hyped for that. So I think they did a great job of kind of just taking that idea and then ramping it up to the next level to put it out at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you can go to the next one. I approve everything Mavic said.
All right, you didn't rile Gabe's boots this time.
No, I was really riled up by that other comment.
Coleman Christie says, why is the guy at the beginning of the Super Bowl commercial sleeping? He has a switch. Sleep is merely a distraction from Breath of the Wild. So I thought this was a brilliant comment.
This is my favorite comment. I love it.
This is going to be Gabe, though. Gabe is going to be tired all the time. He's been playing Zelda in bed, like he says all the time. Yeah. He says, I have 4 hours before bed that I'm going to be playing Breath of the Wild. So this is literally Gabe.
I just thought that was a genius comment. Coleman, you're Gabe's spirit animal.
Yep.
Mark Sherman says, this trailer would definitely attract more people to the Switch, but the fact that you can't find Switch pre-orders anywhere and probably won't be able to for a while after launch will probably drive those people away. And I thought this was a great thought. I don't know how accurate it is because no one knows. They said that they've already sped up production because of pre-orders, but it's interesting. Advertising something that people may not be able to buy for a while. It just really struck me as wow, that's because when you advertise a game,
Dude, wait. Let me pause you right there. This is exactly what happened with Zelda. They've been advertising Zelda for 2 years, and you couldn't buy it.
but not in the capacity of hey, it's coming out March 3rd, $299. With the price. Sure. That.
But I mean, if you find something that you really, really love and want to get, and you go on Amazon and it's out of stock, do you just give up on it? Is that how you operate? For me, I don't. I wait until it comes back in stock.
No, but I think the mainstream mentality of oh, that looks cool, I want to go to Walmart and buy it. I do think it's important that if they're going to keep up with these awesome advertisements, that they need to capitalize on the hype they're building and really have a big load of Switches at launch.
Nintendo has said that there will not be any shortages. I think they're really ramping up production and they're going to have some in stock.
Miyamoto is going hard with his hammer and nails making those Switches.
Will everybody that wants a Switch on day one be able to get one? Probably not, but I don't think they're going to have to wait months or anything like that either, so...
Okay. Evan Miller has something interesting to say about our single cart multiplayer video, and I think this is just awesome. I didn't even know this existed. He says, for Switch, it could be like the latest Mario Party Star Rush for 3DS, where you download an app onto your 3DS that allows you to play with another person who has the cartridge. It makes it so you can play nearly the whole game on local multiplayer. With the Switch, it could be similar, like an advanced demo that makes you eventually want to buy the whole game. So basically, I looked this up, and with Mario Party Star Rush, you can download an app for free that stores, so it has more of the data and allows you to play with people single cart. So think of it, similarly, you got something like ARMS. You download sort of a demo version of ARMS that allows you to play if someone in your vicinity has a cart, and then you're able to store much more of that on your system, so you don't have to worry about the wireless transmitting or anything like that. I just thought this was a super smart idea that I didn't even know Nintendo was already doing.
Yeah, I had never heard of it.
So that's super cool, and that gives me hope for some sort of single cart multiplayer, because I think that they could, sort of build this demo to buy type feature into their games. And with digital being an option, you download it, you like it, you buy the full thing. Yeah. Interesting. Loic Garrett says less than $2 a month for an NES or SNES game and online. This is amazing, and this was one of the most liked comments of the week. And I think it's true. Super cheap online plus a game cheaper than Nintendo would sell it to you. It almost makes the online service a must-have for everyone.
Yes, especially if you want to play online. Yeah.
And then Gray Sea Line, following up on the online discussion, says Nintendo Switch will be charging for online. Everyone says it better be cheap. The price is revealed and it's cheap. Everyone says, I bet that means it's going to suck. Will people just be happy for once? And it's kind of true. It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for Nintendo. And I think they're... maybe Sony's the only one who's immune to this, but it seems like until it's proven to be great, people are very skeptical regardless. And it is interesting how, hey, we don't want to pay for online, so we'll make it cheap, but then people assume it's going to be bad. I'm hopeful that it ends up being a good idea at a great price, and it's just a win-win for consumers.
And to answer his question, damn, will people just be happy for once? The answer is no.
I think that as long as it's like you don't have to plug in like a 16-digit code to find someone, it's fine. Like I don't think Nintendo has to have like a super elaborate online to be successful.
Yeah, and they've said that there's gonna be no friend codes. You're gonna have like just like your street
Right.
name.
So yeah, people will be happy once they have a Switch in their hand. That's how they will be happy, Gabe.
There you go. Jake has solved the problem. Next up, Carlton English says mostly portable. This is in reference to how he plans on using his system.
Such a great name, by the way.
Mostly portable since I have a PC and PS4, but the problem with both is I don't have a lot of time to sit in front of the TV. In comes the Switch. I can game on lunch break at work, at home if my wife is watching her shows, if my daughter is in her game room watching Maya the Bee. Don't know what that is, but it sounds awesome. The system just works for my currently busy lifestyle. I'm sure I will use it as a home console as well, but the Switch will be my daily driver because of the portability. And I think this is cool that in
wait, I just want Carlton to spend more time with his family, though.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, definitely please do that as well. Don't forget about your daughter or your wife. But while you are playing the Switch, it is kind of interesting that in like I said, for better or worse, today's society that is very rat race, go, 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 this allows people to have, like, quality games wherever they want to be, which, maybe
in bed in the 4-hour lead up to sleep.
Maybe they don't, take over PlayStation, but it would be interesting if that kind of thought process and that kind of like perk sort of like started to take a foothold and really create some games for Nintendo.
I'm just waiting for there to be a new law that says you can't switch and drive.
No one did a switch and drive, please.
Yeah,
please don't do that. Alexander Muniz says the commentary about Mario Kart in a theater reminded me of a time when I was at a friend's wedding and 8 of us had 3DS systems and I had Mario Kart 7. So we took it to ourselves to all sit in one table and have a small tournament of sorts in the middle of the wedding, which I thought was just a great anecdote there.
That's a fantastic anecdote.
And some people replied in the comments that they want that to be their wedding, people playing Mario Kart at tables. So my question to you is, if any of you get married in the life cycle of the Switch, will you have a Switch station for people to play?
No.
Yeah, a Switch theme wedding.
You will be able to check your Switches in at the front door.
No,
My
Jake,
wedding will be a human interaction, not video games.
No, Jake. Your wedding, I will make sure that all the groomsmen and bridesmaids.
Gabe, you're not invited. Sorry, you just lost your
I'm the
RSVP.
person you're marrying, so
What?
Joke's on you. Joke's on you. All right, move on.
All right, lessons are learned. Island Matt says, I think it's important to mention it increases hardware sales too. When a friend would come over and use my brother's 3DS and I'm using mine and the single card play experience we have with the latest game, it's a great thing. They almost always go out and buy a 3DS themselves just so we can play again when we're not together. Many 3DSs have been purchased within my social circle because of single card play. And I think that's an interesting point, that it doesn't just drive software, but it can drive hardware. The issue is that then you need to have multi-Switch households. And I wanted to ask you guys about that from this comment. Obviously, PS4, Xbox One, those are systems that typically people are okay with sharing. Is the Switch a non-sharing friendly console?
Get your own.
Yeah, I think at launch most households will only have one Switch to kind of see how it works and whatever. But down the road, if they see that Dad's hogging the Switch all night and they want to buy one for their kids as well, then I can definitely see like 2 Switches per household. Maybe not like 4 like laying around, but I think at launch every household probably just have 1. There's not going to be many people buying 2 because they kind of still see it as like a partially a home console. But I mean, I could definitely see it becoming a multi-Switch household.
Yeah.
And you do realize this is where the non-docking Switch comes in, because then you can just buy the Switch for cheaper without the dock and, have that.
It's only like a mini Switch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, because then what if you could buy it cheaper without the dock, but it still was compatible with the dock, and you already had a dock?
I mean, because if you can buy
how
just the
expensive
Switch,
is the dock?
$90.
The dock is $90.
Oh, I'm sure.
So yeah,
okay.
if you knock off 100 and sell the Switch by itself for $200,
like a mini version of it though, so it's a little bit
even just
screen.
even just a regular one.
I know, but that doesn't make sense for them. I think many people would just buy it that way then. So I think if they sold a smaller version, so there is some like detriment and they're making more money on it. I don't know. Either way, I think again the future of this thing is going to be very alluring. Creme de la Chaos has an interesting thought, and I love the comment. There is no single best mode for me. The flexibility is what makes the Switch so great. My wife wants to watch TV? Sure, no problem. I'll do handheld. She finished watching? Great, I'll pump it up on the huge screen. I think that is what really will make the Switch a success. It's not just a new hot console or handheld, repeating the known old life cycle once again. It is the answer to many problems gamers becoming older are facing. And for this reason, the Switch is not all about pure power for me. If I want the most impressive graphics I can get or want to play those multiplayer AAA titles, I'll fire my gaming PC. But away from that, I'm clearly So impressed with how little power the Switch sacrifices for so much flexibility. Needless to say, Nintendo-owned franchises are awesome, and I cannot wait. And again, like, back to Philip's comment, here's how it's appealing to a variety of audiences and how this is a great thing. Because now this guy gets a Switch, his kids want a Switch. You start really spreading this thing around because the form factor has appeal to both young people and their busy school days, or they're wanting to have their own private game console, and older people and people in between that have busy lives or don't want to take away time from the TV or whatnot. Again, we still have a little bit of the concern about spending time with your family, but other than that, the Switch is awesome.
I can't wait till one day Philip opens up his taco shop that's exclusively for 25-year-olds and older.
G. Terry says, am I the only one who was upset they didn't leave in who guessed the amount of balls in the box? I need to know. This is in the SwitchForce video between Noah and Jake. Who got the correct answer of balls in the box?
Do we remember?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Noah guessed 3 and it was 4.
There you go, G. Terry. The answer to life's questions is now yours.
That's the only one I won.
Good.
I was terrible at that too. So.
Problem solved. We are problem solvers here.
No.
Next up, Artemio Sandoval says, I'm probably never going to use the dock. To me, the Switch is going to be more like a 3DS replacement than a home console. And I wonder if Nintendo also, based on this comment, is going to use a wait-and-see approach. Like, what is the data on the Switch? Is the 3DS viable still?
Yeah,
I think Artemo is going to soon feel that he wants to play Zelda on a big screen, and then he'll switch to using it as a home console as well. I don't see anybody just being like, screw you, Doc, and like throwing it in the trash and like, I'm just using it as like a 3DS.
Well, here's the thing. Not throw it in the trash, but not everyone has 60 inches. So if you're, if you're living with a 32-inch TV,
that's better than whatever the Switch is currently.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah, it's better than.
Okay,
7.
I get that, but I'm just saying it's not this mega, theater-like experience that we may be envisioning.
No, but if I had a choice between watching a movie on my phone and watching it on my 17-inch computer screen, I would much rather watch it on my 17-inch computer screen.
Sure. I can't wait till the week after Switch launches and we get some some stories of how people are using this thing, where they're using it. I hope we get some crazy ones. Like, I used it inside my suitcase aboard the cargo jet. David McDonald says, man, seeing you guys play like that so comfortably at the end of snipper clips really hypes me up for the Switch. It's just so natural. And I love this comment because it's true. Like, you have to see it and feel it to believe it. And I think people that are skeptical of the Switch, if they do see it in real life or they do play it in real life, they will understand that, like, the form factor and the comfort and the natural ease with which they've achieved that.
Yeah. I think it's once you touch it. Once you see it, and, that looks really cool. But then you touch it and you're like, I don't want to put this down. I don't want to let it go at all.
And even though we don't want to let the first episode of CommentForce go, that brings us to the close for all our comments. Thank you to everyone who was featured in this video and everyone who's commented elsewhere throughout the videos and throughout the week. Keep those comments coming strong. We'll be back with another episode of CommentForce next week. Really looking to build community interaction, and we love you guys and girls so far. 16,000 strong, and we'll just keep cruising. So, get those comments in there. I love the discussion you guys are having. We love the discussions you're having. And we'll be back with another slate of comments next week. Any final thoughts from the two of you?
We love you.
Twice.
Gabe, stop stealing everything from me.
Never.
And try to make sure your comments don't rile Gabe up. Until that time, though, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you're just one of the stars of
Switch us out.
Until next time, thanks again. For myself, Jake, and Gabe, SwitchForce out.